Hello everybody, welcome once again to another video. This is me, Base Jalarin, and here I am on my bed, not in my closet, because I felt like it, to bring you my haul for August of 2018. And I didn't go as buck wild as I did in July, that's for sure, but I did get quite a bit, so I'm just going to get right on into it. And I got some stuff that isn't manga this month, so I'm going to go ahead and show that off first. And I'm going to start with the art book, and what an art book it is, my lads. This is the art of Metal Gear Solid 1 through 4. I have the art for Metal Gear Solid 5, so I felt it was very, very appropriate to get this, and I had no idea it was going to come in a box. And it is heavy as shit, but it is a beautiful box. Let's just pan over this fucking box. It is a beautiful, beautiful box set. Like, you can always count on Dark Horse to give you high quality art books and stuff like that. And just turn that over so I can flip that open. So they have Studio Works and Gallery Works. Studio Works is more like the design work, like the initial like sketches, and Gallery Works is more like official like promotional artwork that they did for the games. I'm going to try and pull one of these out without breaking the box on camera, because wouldn't that be unfortunate? And here we have the actual books. The gallery one's all in color on the front, and the studio is all black and white. And what I really like is that on the pages, at least on the outside, I don't know if you can tell because the lighting in here is weird, but it's shiny and silver, which is really, really cool. And just do a little flip through some of the stuff that's in here. See a lot of like basic like character design stuff, promotional images of the characters, stuff that was probably used in ads and on boxes and stuff like that. Beautiful shit. And in here you have more of like the technical side of things, character sketches, layouts of like levels. The mech work in here is really detailed. Like, they go into like the bits and pieces and how they connect and like what things are. And it's really nice is that these are written in Japanese, but they're numbered. And down here they have like a little like glossary of what's being said up here. This is definitely something I'd recommend to anybody who likes Metal Gear stuff. It is a beautiful, beautiful collectible. A wonderful art book set. Very nice. I also got anime, which is something we hardly get here in this household because we spend so much money on other stuff we hardly have any money for anime, but this was definitely something we had to get, especially my husband for sure, because he loves Gundam 00, and if you did not know, this year is the 10th anniversary of Gundam 00, so a lot of special stuff has been coming out lately, and this was one of the things, and this is the box set for Gundam 00 that was put out by Right Stuff, the 10th Anniversary Ultra Edition. It's a big old fucking box, and inside they have both seasons 1 and 2, the OVAs, and the movie, which is really, really nice. And they also have included in here is this really, really nice art book. Like, over 200 pages, full color. It's really, really nice. They got like promotional images, they got character designs and designs for the mechs. It's really, really nice. And in here we got some other like little goodies, like there's a little like cloth poster in here and like a magnet and some postcards. But yeah, like the past couple of days have been filled with nothing but like Gundam 00, like that's all I've been watching. Right Stuff is actually putting out the same kind of box for G Gundam. Kind of tempted solely for the Tequila Gundam shot glass, which I thought it was fucking hilarious. But yeah, it's a really nice box too. And now that I've watched Gundam 00, my favorite character definitely in the entire series is Alleluia. Fucking love me them edgelords. Can't get away. Alright, now we're gonna get into the manga and stuff. And I got one light novel this month, and that would be just the second volume of Toradora. I actually haven't read the first volume of Toradora, so it's going to be a bit before I get into this one. But I am reading my light novels. I'm just a very slow reader because I don't have a lot of time to read, like, actual, like, books and stuff. But, yeah, got that. And we also got, Bleach Official Character Book, Volume 2, Masked. With the hype that's been going on with Bleach lately, with the series ending here in America, and the live-action movie that just came out, there's been a lot of Bleach hype here in this household, and don't be surprised if you actually do see us buying the manga in the future. Alright, next up we're going to move on to used stuff I got this month. I got a little, but not like a bunch. And first up, I got Volumes 7 and 8 of Gals. Volume 7 especially gave me a bit of a hard time because I had to buy it twice this month. Because I got it once, and you probably can't... There was a lot of more stuff wrong with it before. Like, you can obviously tell it's a lot of shelf wear. The spine is sun bleached to fuck. It's not really in the best condition, but it had that really like hard, like the back still has it, that really hard plastic that they kind of slip over books at libraries to like keep them, like to hold their shape. But I sort of peeled it off as like practice for if I ever have to do that again. Obviously didn't do the best of a job, but again, this book was obviously in too bad of a quality to resell. So I figured I'd try my hand at trying to remove the plastic. Didn't do the best of jobs. But yeah, that plastic was off. There was a scratch and sniff sticker from Trader Joe's on this little image back here. There's a point where, like, I'll keep books that are kind of beat up a little, just for the sake of buying cheaply. But there's definitely a threshold where I will not take the book if it's in a horrible condition, and this was definitely that threshold. But yeah, I got volumes 7 and 8. Volume 9 is the one in the series that's especially a little expensive. I think it's in like the mid-30s, which isn't horrible, but it's definitely a lot higher than what you'd normally pay. It's going to be a little while before I get volume 9. But I'm only 2 away from completing Gals, which I think is really, really cool. Finally, for used stuff, this is kind of an impulse buy, but I saw this in someone else's collection, and I was honestly really intrigued solely because I've never heard of it before, and that would be Welcome to Wakabaso, Volume 1 and Volume 2, which is actually the final volume, so it's not a very long series, but it's kind of a standard comedy where a guy moves into, like, a dorm where a bunch of girls live. It's a very standard sort of comedy in that regard. There's nothing very special about it, but it's not horrible. It's not awful. It's definitely something I see myself keeping. And you can tell it's an older yen press title because it's for $10.99 and not like something outrageous. But yeah, the art is definitely peak mid-2000s. Like, just looking at it, you're whisked away to that point in time. It's definitely an older series. It was published around like 2007, so it definitely has that mid-2000s aesthetic going on. But yeah, they're okay. They're not anything to write home about to the boys, but they're not horrible, so yeah. And then we're going to get into the new pickups, and we're going to start with the special stuff, because picked up special stuff. And the first thing that I got was Solon and Epilogue, which is itty-bitty as shit, but we all know that. Originally, I didn't think I was ever going to own this, because it was a exclusive convention item that was given out only specifically at this one convention in, like, Canada or something. So I figured I'd either have to pay out the ass for it, or I would never have it in my collection, which is very, very sad, because Solanin is probably one of my favorite manga of all fucking time. But a publishing company recently put out a reprint, and I do believe they still are selling them. The first little bit was actually featured in one of Inio Asano's art books. I think it was like Control-Alt or something, I think is what it was called, because I've read it before. But the second one is actually chapter 29, technically, of Solanin, and it takes place like 10 years in the future. And honestly, I feel that's really like perfectly timed, because I believe it's been 10 years since I've bought and read Solanin and just had it affect me as a teenager, and I feel it's very fitting to revisit this series now as an adult, with the final epilogue that takes place 10 years in the future. It's like a hug, honestly. It's like I've been waiting for this for a very long time. It's like closure, and I really, really love it. It's definitely an important piece in my collection, for sure. Next up, I took advantage of the recent reprinting of Banana Fish. Now this is the kind of shit that I've been talking about. This is the kind of shit that I stand for. This is wonderful reprints of manga that is super out of print and very highly iconic, like Banana Fish. I know we owe a lot to the Banana Fish anime that's airing this season as to why these got reprinted. Like, I'm pretty sure no one's going to reprint something like Wandering Sun for no fucking reason. But I'm just really, really glad I got to see something like this happen, where a really rare, highly sought after, very highly iconic manga gets a reprint. So, I'm going to be buying this in chunks. This is volumes 1 through 5. I have volumes 6 through 10 on the way, but they're not going to get here till September, so those are going to be in my next month's haul. But, yeah, I'm just absolutely 100% happy as shit about this reprint. I'm definitely all for manga being something that is accessible to everyone, especially manga that is iconic and just beloved, like Banana Fish. So I'm just tickled at the Banana Fish reprint. I don't think Volume 5 and Volume 4 are reprints, though, because they have the older Viz logo, and the ads in the back are for older manga as opposed to current day manga. Next, we're going to go into new pickups, and I'm going to start with That Blue Sky Feeling, which is a really interesting manga about this guy, and he moves to a new school in a new town, and he meets one of the guys in class, and he's withdrawn, and he doesn't really talk to anybody, and new guy really wants to include him, but then it turns out that this character is actually gay, and so the basic premise of at least Volume 1 is pretty much him just trying to learn to understand his new friend, because he's never had like a friend who's like gay before, and he's just trying to figure out like the ins and outs and trying to get to know him better. It's a really, really sweet, very just cute, wholesome series, and if you haven't picked it up, I highly suggest you do. It's a very sweet story. Next up, I got The Bride and the Exorcist Night Volume 1. This one was okay. I really like the time period in which it was set. It's a little interesting. It's about this girl, and she's cursed to one day have to marry this demon, but then she meets this boy who's like, she's like 17 and he's like 12, and he like, obviously judging by the title, he like gets engaged with her in order to try and kill the demon who is after her soul, and he's obviously an exorcist, and it's kind of an action manga, sort of, kind of romancy, but it's a little weird because he's a little kid, he's like a little itty-bitty boy, and she's almost a grown woman, and there is a little bit of a weirdness there, but I honestly think it's an okay series. I'm looking forward to Volume 2, gonna see how that one goes. Next, we got If It's For My Daughter, I'd Even Defeat a Demon Lord. Now, this one I didn't initially get because I misread the synopsis, you see. because originally I don't know what the fuck I was on, or like how exhausted I was, why I could suddenly not read the language that I speak, but I thought, I could have sworn that this was an isekai, and I'm not the biggest fan of isekai. Like, unless you do something really, really unique with your isekai, I'm not a fan. So I thought I could have sworn I read this and I thought it was an isekai, so I never touched it. But it's not an isekai. It's about this guy, and he's like an adventurer. He's kind of like a hero for hire. And he meets this little girl in the woods, and she's like a demon. And she's like, and I guess like her parents are dead, and he decides to take it upon himself and start just caring for her and just become her dad. And it's wholesome as shit, and it's just her learning to like acclimate herself to society and being cute and just being a cute little girl, growing up, having a dad. It's very sweet. And yeah, really like it. Next up in my constant quest to find a shoujo that I will like, that I will not drop immediately, I got Shortcake Cake Volume 1. It's just about a girl who moves into a dorm closer to her school to keep from having to ride the bus, the 2-hour bus ride to her school every day, and just her meeting people in the dorm. And of course there's cute guys in the dorm, multiple cute guys, which promises probably, you know, love triangles. But I really like the art. The art is absolutely adorable. And I really, really like the main character because she does the fucking doggy mouth. Like, I fucking love characters who do the doggy mouth. It's the most adorable anime expression you could possibly have a character do. The little 3 mouth. I love it. But yeah. So far, Shortcake Cake is really cute. And I hope I don't drop it around Volume 2 or Volume 3 like I normally do. I'm going to try I'm trying my hardest to find shoujo that I like. I'm constantly picking up shoujo, and then sometimes I drop them, but I'm trying to find shoujo that I enjoy, because I feel like my collection is lacking just shoujo, just that shoujo content. So, yeah, gonna try Shortcake Cake Volume 1, see how that goes. Next up we have Ultra Kaiju Humanization Project, which you probably won't really like this manga unless you like or know of Ultraman, because the characters in here are Ultraman villains, and a lot of the comedy and a lot of like the humor of the series takes away from the fact that these are Ultraman villains and they've been turned into cute girls. And the reason I got it is because my husband is a big Ultraman fan, and I'm trying to get into Ultraman. But yeah, it's definitely not a manga for everybody. It's not like the funniest or the cutest manga, but it's interesting in the fact that it's an Ultraman themed manga, which is cool. Next up we have Accomplishments of the Duke's Daughter, which I really, really fucking liked. It's about this girl, and she wakes up in a otome game she had been playing as like the main rival of the main character of this otome game. And she wakes up in this otome game at a point where, like, I guess the main rival was about to be exiled from the main storyline, and she just accepts her fate, and she just leaves the setting of the otome game and just goes back to that character's home country. And it winds up being it's very something much like Spice and Wolf, where they go into the deeper details of economics and just how countries are run, and just very technical details. This girl goes back to her home, where she becomes the Fife Lord, I think is how it's pronounced, of the area, and she's trying to improve the area, which has a lot of poverty. It's kind of poverty stricken. There's definitely some economic problems, and she aims to try and solve these issues using her skills as an accountant back in the real world. and there might be like some romantic stuff being set up for later, but it was honestly a twist on what, because I wanted it because I was really interested in the premise, but it went in a direction that I didn't expect it to go, and it's honestly a surprisingly good read, especially if you like Spice and Wolf and stuff like that. I really like it. It's a really interesting read. It definitely went in a direction I didn't think it would go. I didn't think that she would immediately, like, separate herself from the setting of the Ultimate game to go and just rule over a fief instead, which is really cool. I really like it. Next up, we have Black Torch, which is a new manga from Shonen Jump. It definitely has Bleachy vibes. Look at that, and you can just feel very, like, Bleach-esque sort of vibes coming off this manga. And I haven't really gotten into this one very much. A lot of stuff been having to read otherwise, but it seems to be about this guy, and he can talk to animals, and he rescues a cat who ends up being, a Mononoke, I think is what they're called in this universe, like a demon, and he winds up, I guess, fusing with the demon in order to, like, fight off another demon, and then he's hunted because he's fused with a Mononoke. Things happen, fights happen, big ol' fucking shonen fights, you know how it is. But yeah, it's really interesting to me. I personally really like it. I heard it's not very long. Like, I heard it wasn't a series in Shonen Jump that lasted for very long, but I'm looking forward to it. Next up, I haven't read this one yet. I haven't gotten into it, but it's How to Treat Magical Beasts, Mine and Master's Medical Journal. I was interested in this when it came out, but I didn't have enough money to pick it up at the time, and a bunch of shit happened, so I never did. But it definitely feels like something along the lines of The Ancient Magus's Bride. We enter a setting where a society is moving forward, and they're no longer relying on magic and stuff. Magic is kind of dying, and then we have this girl, and she still practices in, like, magical, like, healing potions, and she works with magical beasts in a time and age where magic is slowly being phased out. And that's how I am able to synopsize from what I've barely read. But I'm looking forward to it. The art is very cute. Like I said, it's like Ancient Magus's Bride, but it's definitely got a cuter feel. The design work is a lot more cutesy, and a lot more, like, round, and a lot more just, you know, moe, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's definitely got those vibes. I'm definitely looking forward to reading it. And finally, something else that I haven't picked up. I got it because the cover just looked wild as shit. It's The Precarious Woman Executive, Miss Black General. I haven't read this at all, but the premise seemed really interesting to me. It's just about this villain, and she's not a particularly good villain, but she's constantly after, like, this dude's dick, I think is what it is. And so all of her escapades are just her trying to seduce him when she really should just be doing villain shit. Looks like a wacky, zany sort of slapstick comedy about her adventures. It looks really nice. The art looks very, like, poppy, very, like, fun and unique. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting into that.